Share it with a friend. Tell them, hey, we're on. Dr. Ed is on. We're on right now. And we're going to talk about something. We're headed right up to the holidays. I'm Dr. Ed Montgomery. I like to call myself Ed Montgomery, but they call me Dr. Ed, so that's what you'll see on the videos, top of the videos over there. So thank you for being with us today. If you like this, like it. Hit that little like button, that thumbs up. It means a whole lot to us. And also comments. If something hits you, if something that you're there, if you're saying hi, listen, I love to see it. I don't see it. I try to look while I'm doing, you know how other people say, hi, Joe. And I try to do it, but I don't see it. Those little bitties where I see boxes, but I don't see everything. But I look at it later, and I'll see different comments later. So thank you for being with us, and thank you for being a part of it. And if you're watching my YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash it, crash it, hit it, let us know. Because with you, we went over all of our subscriptions and everything. Today, we're just right on the verge of Christmas Eve. And of course, we know it's a holiday that Christians stole. Yeah, they stole it. They stole a lot of things from Christians. So I guess Christians decided they were just going to steal something back. So they stole the 25th of December from a sun god. But it's a holiday, and the way I look at it, I love to see it. I love the time of it. And I love the ability to love people, talk to people, see people, be around people, the food, the festivities. During the times we have, children that do Christmas carols, and they all sing in a beautiful Christmas choir with candles and all those different things. Oh, come, all ye faithful. And all of the wonderful Christmas carols and all the things that we do during this time. And all of a sudden, it's been stopped. Halted. Coronavirus. Oh, that's it. Done. Put it on hold. And we won't see this till next year. And people are going absolutely bananas because they don't know what to do. So they're calling their parents, and especially their grandparents, because they miss sweet potato pie. And some of those that are really from down south, they miss their chitterlings. Called chitlins, but they're chitterlings. They miss all of the food, and they miss sitting down there and watching the football games together. And I miss being around. And they're deciding, I'm going anyway. And give them COVID. Don't care. And I'm not even taking a mask. Because I don't care. Because it's hurting me. It's hurting me. And I'm sitting here asking myself the question. What happens when I think somebody had talked about what happens when loving me, or when, your love for me is hurting me. I know you want to be with me, but why put the guilt trip on me? I just want to be there with you, grandma and granddad. Please, I don't have no COVID. I don't have it. And then they trust you. The next thing you know, folk wind up sick. Listen, I understand that this is one of the toughest parts of this whole thing about COVID. As a matter of fact, people have adopted a concept of it doesn't exist. There's no such thing. They made it up. In other words, they made it up around the world. In other words, They made it up around the entire world? Is that what you're saying? They just make it up in the United States, or did they make it up across the entire planet? That's a lot of planning, baby, to make up the COVID in the entire world. As a matter of fact, right now we're hearing reports coming out of England, out of Great Britain, and what they're discovering is they found a new strand of coronavirus, almost as if it's mutated. That's much more powerful, much more stronger, and from what they understand right now, the vaccine will handle it. But they're seeing that this virus is not stopping. It's starting to go into its next dimension. And this is one of the reasons why they're telling us about make sure we're wearing masks and different things of that sort, so that we can stop it right where it is. Even if everybody did put on their mask and started acting right now, there's still a part of this thing that our country has to go through, that we're going to have to endure in order to get to the other side. This is not an easy thing. And we're here in the holidays, and we're finding ourselves in a sense where we're separated, alone, by ourselves. Some people are by themselves during these holidays all the time. And listen, I'm always on this internet, Facebook, during this time, ministering, especially to those who find themselves alone during this holiday and going through things, dealing with loved ones, So, I mean, hey, we've always had to do it. I've always had to help. People had to help me through it years ago. And so I'm here to help others through it. And I'm here again to help others through it. And this is where we find ourselves. And then there's some people saying, well, we're not alone because they put a chip in me. And I don't know how I shouldn't do this. I was doing so good teaching your class. But I heard that they said, people are saying, well, the reason for this virus is because they want to give you the vaccine in order to put this liquid chip in your body. How many of you heard that? You heard that one? And I know you're saying, why are you laughing, Dr. Ed? It does make sense that people can put vaccine or something in you so that they can track you, and they want to put a chip inside of you so they can track you. Listen to me. Listen closely to me. You already have the chip. Okay? It's called cell phone. Say it with me. Cell phone. It's that item that you won't put down. It's the item that you won't stop surfing. It's the item that you won't stop clicking. It's the item you won't stop Instagramming. It's the item you won't stop clicking pictures of food with. It's in the cell phone that you won't put down. I don't care how many times you push the button, don't tell people where I am. Click. Don't let them know my location. Click. I don't care what it is. You still, if something goes wrong with your phone, what do? Find my cell phone. Find my iPad. Right. How do you think they find it? Because there's a chip in it. If they can find your phone and you won't let go of the phone, and you have made the phone a part of your hand, which is connected to your arm, guess what? The chip is finding you. Now, so let's get rid of that theory. You already got a chip, so now live with it. If you don't want to live with a chip, get rid of your cell phone. Okay? Okay. Now that we've gotten past that, these are little things that we're coming up with that we're being afraid of concerning the future. And let me tell you what Jesus has said to us. You can look at this in Mark chapter 16. And we're hearing things like that we can lay hands on the sick and they shall recover. Uh, they shall tread on serpents and they will not harm you. There's meaning behind all this. If you drink any deadly thing, it will not hurt you. There's meaning behind all of this. I look back at vaccines and I was thinking about the other. I said I was going to tell you about it today on this class. I didn't do it on Sunday, but I said I was going to do it on this particular class. I was looking back and I remember being in school when they did the vaccine for polio, and everybody was scared of getting the vaccine in their arm. So what they did, they got a little tiny spoon with a little bitty sugar cube and put the vaccine, our dropper put it on the sugar cube. And they had the kids line up. Kids lined up, and that's how we got them. We were able to keep the spoon. Kids lined up, and that's how we were able to take the vaccine. Everybody was glad to take this vaccine. As a matter of fact, they gave the vaccine out in the public schools. Isn't that interesting? What better place that you would trust than to get your vaccine at the school? And everybody was going to school to get their vaccine. People were lining up around the schools to get the vaccine. Because polio was something that we would see in children, and it was just horrific. And Jonas Salk had came up with the vaccine, and they had begun to, other scientists had begun to distribute and teach us how to use it on sugar that would help kids to take it in. Science has always been a part of our lives. But science has not always been a part of religion. And one of the reasons is because most of your religion kind of didn't want science to emerge, because science said things different than religion did. And that's why many times many of the scientists, religion wanted to get rid of them because of some of the things religion said. Look, I'm not going to be long, but I'm going to share something with you. Yeah, I was looking at my time. I got good time on this. But I'm going to share this with you, and I'm going to tell you some of the things that science has said and why, as we go back in history, what happened. But I want you to watch this. It's for about 185 seconds. Watch this, and I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Don't leave me. Okay. All right. Hello, I'm Ed Montgomery. 2020 is a year we will never forget. Years ago, I watched my 14-year-old daughter transition after a battle with cancer. And even in this year, I watched my wife of 45 years transition. And this has not been an easy thing. But if there's one thing that we have learned over 40 years of ministry, it is the fact that as you give out, as you speak healing to others, as you encourage others, then that healing comes back to you. I know, sometimes you don't feel like doing it, but that's the way life works. What you give out comes back to you. I want to say thank you for everything you've done, your prayers, your encouragement, your emails, your chats, all of those things. And I also want to say thank you for your contributions. And I want to say to those of you that have not been in the physical building for a while, that's all of us, because none of us have been in a physical building. We won't be going there for a while, but we will get there. But the bottom line is this: church is where we gather. Church is us when we come together in our words and our hearts and our friendships and our remembrances come together as one. It is our job in the world we live in. There's so much chaos, so much division, so many people talking so many people down. I think this is where we should come together and be one voice to lift people up. Will you help me do that? Here's how you can do it. Click that donate button. And I promise you, it's safe, it's secure, it's quick. And when you click it, you will make a decision what I want to give, what I want to share. But your sharing will help others to become a little bit better at living their lives. You can use your text message, you can use all of those different things. But whatever you use, make sure you do it today. Do it now, because this is so crucial in 2020. Yep, things are not going to get better overnight. As a matter of fact, as much as I hate to say it may get worse before it gets better. But you know what? Even in the middle of all of it, together, we're going to get through to the other side. Listen, thank you again for everything you do. I'm looking forward to seeing your name. Thank you. Bless you. Love you. All right. Make sure you do that. It makes a huge difference. You know, when I look back at history, and I'm a history buff, if there's one thing I've learned about science, and I don't, people look at science and they say, well, you know, those scientists and everything. But back in the 1500s, when you had one of the major, what I call outbreaks of science. Science was going on all the time, but this is the Renaissance. They're coming out of the Dark Ages and all this kind of stuff. And you began to realize that Sir Isaac Newton, Galileo, Sir Isaac Newton, the father of physics, and you're looking at these people who spoke of understanding the planet. The church would say that the earth was the center and that the sun went around the earth. But these men, these scientists said, no, that's not true. The earth goes around the sun, and that there are planets that also go around the sun, and that the earth is spinning. And you understand who these men were. These scientists, they were not atheists. Actually, they were churchmen. Many of them were priests. They were preachers. But when they start discovering things, because you see, the Spirit of God inside of you leads you to investigate. It leads you to look beyond yourself, to look beyond in space, to look beyond as they do in quantum physics, all of these things. It makes you move into science, because you're like proving. Science cannot prove God, but science can track things, and that's what science does. So the whole thing about science, Christians and science, they don't go together and things of that sort. You need to look at the source of who's telling you these kind of things, because this is not the way it works. There are scientists who have strong faith in God. As a matter of fact, scientists who ask God to drop into their minds the end of equations and ideas and understanding. You have to look beyond just natural everyday things to begin to see how God thinks. Albert Einstein looked beyond to begin to see how God thinks, how God would look at things, and not necessarily through God based on our definition of God, but to step back and realize that there's much more to it. This is what I've always seen ministry as about. Ministry, to me, is not merely about staying within the four corners of a wall of a church and never realizing that you're helping the people that's around you to elevate, to escalate, to begin to think more about their spiritual lives. The goal is not to keep people in a building with your thumb on them. No. That's not what we do. That's what ALC has never been. We've never been about that. Abundant Life Center, that's what ALC means. What it's been about is saying to people and freeing people what Jesus talked about. In other words, he that, whom the Son sets free is free indeed. My words are spirit and my words are life. It's word that frees us. Words that sets us free. As we educate ourselves, it sets us free. Our young people don't have to go to college and leave God. As a matter of fact, you'll discover God more than you've ever discovered God before. And I say to you, those of you who are looking at us for the first time and saying, look, I want to be a part of your gathering. I want to be a part of ALC. I call it gathering because we're church. We're legitimate 501c3 church. Yes, we are according to the definition of church. I say gathering because everybody has their own definition of church. I don't want you to think we just merely go to church, although we'll have a building when we finally get out of COVID. Of course, we will be back in our building. But to understand that church is us. We're church. We're the people. We're church. And when we go to church, we're not going to church. We're taking church to the building. And then we have church because we're the church in it, expressing ourselves. And then when we come out, we're the church that's leaving, going into the world and leaving the building, which is just the corporate home of where we meet that we call church. And we put the name on it, ALC Church. We put the name on it because that's where we meet. That's where we've decided. That's where we put our money, and that's where we seed, and that's where we give to make sure that we have a base, a home base of ministry to reach out into the world. But we have a big opportunity now. There are a lot of people, some of your number one top religious people, who are saying some crazy things out here right now. We're watching a lot of things happen in politics. And I think it's up to us to open up the scriptures and say, look, this is what God says. And as we share it with others, it gives people the opportunity to look at it, read it, and make their own considerations. See, when we start telling folks, this is what you ought to believe, this is where it ought to be, and they know, but that's what causes the problem. But this is when we come with information and we begin to help people understand things like God in you. That God is not sitting up in somewhere on a planet with a baseball bat ready to beat you up for every little sin that you committed. God is not mad at you. God did not send COVID-19 to wipe out the homosexuals or the people who've been living in sin or to drive people back to the church. God doesn't use stuff like that to hurt you in order to make you go back to something. No. God loves you. And he cares about you right where you are. My time is almost up. I see myself clicking away now. But I say this to you. This is the God that we want to express on this particular holiday season. We talk about Christmas and about the day Christ was born. Christ is born in each of us. The question is, do we let Christ grow up in us? Because if he just stays a baby, and every year we talk about this, what difference does it make? It says, and Jesus grew in wisdom, stature, and favor with God. The baby grows up. Look, your spiritual life is going to make a big difference to you. Coming up in 2021, it's going to make a huge difference in your life. Listen, let Christ grow up in you. Let this Christmas be one. We're going to look back at 2020. We're not going to forget. For some of you, there's going to be some hurtful moments. Yeah, I know. I'll feel them too. But with good friends, good conversation, I think we're going to get through this. As a matter of fact, I know we are. I'm going to be holding your hand, praying for you, lifting you, encouraging you, because you're going to get through this. So from all of us here at ALC and to ALC, have a very Merry Christmas. Whatever kind of Christmas it is, have Have a merry one. And get ready. There's a word coming out for a new year. Love you.